Hello, all you war dogs out there, and welcome to Undeclared Bajor.
Is war dogs like complimentary or?
I don't know.
Like I'm really unclear if it's a good or a bad thing.
You decide.
Oh, there you go.
I know there was a movie called War Dogs, wasn't there?
Yes, that's with like Jonah Hill. Is that the one I'm thinking?
Yeah,
of?
and someone,
yeah,
Miles, what's his face?
someone was
Maybe.
the best in that.
Anyway, this is Undeclared Bajor, the best Star Trek DS9 discussion podcast. My name is Fletcher. About to say hello is Data.
Yo.
Today we're going to discuss Star Trek DS9, Season 7, Episode 24, The Dogs of War. Alternate title, Who's the Boss of Ferenginar?
Yeah, okay.
This episode originally aired May 26th, 1999. It was written by Renee Echevarria and Ronald D. Moore. Story by Peter Allen Fields. And directed by Avery Brooks.
Yeah, and there's a note in here that, I don't know if you'd say coincidentally, but Patrick Stewart directed the second-to-last episode of The Next Generation, and Avery Brooks is directing the second-to-last episode of Deep Space Nine.
Ah, maybe so get a little tradition going or
Maybe.
something. I don't know. Sierra Clofton is not in the episode.
He sure is not.
Sarah Clofton's kind of getting the shaft in this final chapter arc, if you ask me.
Yeah, I guess maybe there just wasn't a big use for a reporter in the final arc.
I think we've had more Nog than Jake.
I mean, yeah, he's a Starfleet officer. Those are useful.
True. It's useful to have around when you're having a war.
Yeah.
We will be discussing spoilers up through this episode, but not after this episode. So, not spoilers from the next episode, basically.
I'm going to spoil all of the next episode. That'll teach you. The series ends.
So it's safe to watch along with us, or it's just safe if you've never seen the finale. If this is your first experience with Star Trek Deep Space Nine, I mean, we will spoil past episodes, obviously. So if this is the first episode of Star Trek Deep Space Nine you've ever watched...
Yeah, if this is your literal first experience, then you made a very strange choice.
This is not a good spoiler avoidance strategy.
Mm.
But sometimes we spoil other stuff, too. But first things first, how would you rate the title Dogs of War?
All right, well, the note in here on the title is obviously it is a Shakespeare reference.
Uh-huh.
For this one being from Julius Caesar. And also, General Chang says it in Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country, where he quotes like a whole thing.
Yep.
But the additional note is, this is the second episode in the 7th season with a title that is from a Shakespeare play and also quoted by General Chang. The other one being Once More Unto the Breach.
Nice. Did General Chang? I guess he must have said it because.
I mean, that's what it says. I don't remember all of his craziness from that that movie. He said a lot of stuff. But okay, so once again, it's a bit of a generic title, and in a show that has been largely about war, like the Dogs of War could be almost any episode. And I'm not sure how it fits this one better than any of the other episodes about the war, especially given how much of the episode is dedicated to the Ferengi story, which has nothing to do with the war.
Right.
But at the same time, this is a very memorable Deep Space Nine episode title for me personally, because I don't remember. I played a lot of Star Trek Armada once upon a time, and it was a PC game.
Sure.
And I don't remember if it was the first one or the second one, but the ships always have little, like, you send them over to do a thing and they're like, right away, or yes, sir. Like, they got little quotes in there. And the one that just has stuck with me forever is when you sent the Klingons, I don't remember if it was any Klingon or if it was like Martok's ship in particular, but one of the things that would happen is when you sent the Klingons to attack somebody was that Martok's voice, with this very strange cadence, would quote this. And I gotta see if I can... It's like, "Cry havoc, and let slip the Dogs of War."
Nice.
And, like, it is just stuck in my head forever. And so when someone says the Dogs of War, I don't associate it with Shakespeare, Julius Caesar,
Julius Shakespeare.
the Shakespeare play. Yeah. But in my mind, it immediately is associated with Star Trek Deep Space Nine and Martok in particular, even though I don't know that Martok says it in the show ever. So I remember that as being a Deep Space Nine episode. I remember that as being one of the final arc of Deep Space Nine episodes. But is it, like, clever? Could I connect it specifically with this episode? Probably not. So I maybe kind of middling, but it definitely sticks with me.
I mean, I'm not quite sure that any Havoc got cried in this episode or any Dogs of War got let slip. I mean, maybe with Damar and stuff.
Yeah, I was about to say, that's probably the only arguable place is the Damar story.
The major plot point is that the Dominion is actually kind of falling back from the war, so...
They slipped their dogs, but not in the sense that the quote is actually referencing.
So yeah, I think, again, it's just another kind of weird title. I think they just don't know how to title these episodes that are a little bit more serialized than they've been in the past. I don't know.
It feels like this is a title that they'd stuck up on a post-it note on the dry erase board at some point.
Uh-huh.
They're like, oh, we could probably use that in, like, some more episode. And now we're almost at the end, and they're like, I don't know what to call this. What's on the board?
Or someone really wanted that title, and there just never was a good opportunity, and this was their last chance. They were like, oh, that would be such a badass title for a Dominion War episode, and then the opportunity never came. But going into the episode recap, so Captain Sisko arrives in Ops, where everybody is gathered waiting for something. Sisko says, anything yet? And O'Brien says, running a little bit late. And Sisko says, this is no way to start a relationship. So, oh my gosh, what are we waiting for? And then we pan over to Ezri as Julian swoops in creepily beside her and says, hi, Ezri. And they make awkward chit-chat for a moment about how Odo's doing, which is good, apparently.
Once again, just throwing out some, like, personal health information.
Right, exactly. Just, I mean, I'm sure Odo would be fine with people knowing that he's doing good, but still. Yeah, they make this awkward chit-chat, and then Ezri walks away. And then O'Brien and Worf watch this weird interaction, and O'Brien wonders why they don't just bang already.
Yep. Why don't they just get it over with?
And Worf correctly analyzes that Julian is a child, and Ezri is just very confused. And O'Brien says, could still work. And then something beeps, and O'Brien announces, she's here. Sisko rushes out of his office and says, on screen, and we see what all the fuss is about. It's the Defiant. No, wait, that blew up. But it's another Defiant-class ship, the USS São Paulo, or whatever.
Sao Paulo.
However you say that. If it's got the little thing above it, you're supposed to nasalize the vowel. I looked this up. So I was like, São Paulo, because Ross says it later in the episode, too. I think he also looked up how to say it.
There is a note in here about where the ship's name came from. Can you hazard a guess?
Well, I mean, does it come from the name of the city in Brazil?
Nope, it sure doesn't.
Oh my gosh.
Which is the thing that I always assumed. No, it says, the ship was named after the ship San Pablo in the 1966 Robert Wise movie, The Sand Pebbles. Sisko's line, hello ship, is an homage to Steve McQueen's salute to his new ship in that film.
Ah, okay. Bravo, Ira Stephen Bear.
Could you not just call it the San Pablo? I don't...
So, yeah. If you're Brazilian, you can let me know how to pronounce that. Also, if you're not Brazilian, please do not upload pronunciation guides on YouTube for how to say that. I do not care to hear an American person explain to me how to say São Paulo.
Aw. Take that, Americans.
It's like you Google that, and it's just like a bunch of non-Brazilians explaining how to pronounce it.
The Brazilians just don't care enough to...
Right.
They're like, pronounce it how you want, whatever.
They don't know that it's hard to pronounce because they're used to it, I guess.
They've just got more interesting things to do. than teach Americans how to do that.
So, however, the dedication plaque does not have the tilde on it. So, maybe Brazilian Portuguese has gone through some orthographic reforms by the 24th century, or maybe the set person just couldn't be bothered.
The dedication plaque does have a couple of interesting notes here.
Oh,
I mean, it has the Patrick Henry quote, "Give me liberty or give me death."
Mm-hmm. The famous Brazilian Patrick Henry, yes.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's not named after the city in Brazil, so why would it need a Brazilian, thing?
Well, it's dedicated to the people of Brazil, though, so...
Okay. And, but also, it has the launch star date is 52889.3, but the start date of the episode is 52861.3. So, that means that the ship launched later by, 28? Whatever that equates to. I don't know how star dates work. So I do know that they, where you are affects them somehow, but...
So wait, the launch date is after this date?
Yes. That is the point that was being made, yes.
So I guess they post-date the launch date. They're like, well, but launch date would mean when it's launched out of the shipyard, right? So... Yeah,
I would think. And honestly... Given the special dispensation and the fact that I guess we're going to need a new dedication plaque, post-dating it would be kind of silly.
Oh yeah, maybe that was a last-minute thing. I don't know. Did you have more notes about the plaque?
No, not about the plaque specifically. I didn't know if you were going to give the Esri line or the line about missing staff meetings. There is a note about that.
I do not believe I have that.
Okay, so Esri's like, I didn't know we were getting a new Defiant class ship. And Sisko's like, that's what happens when you miss staff meetings. And this says, that's an homage to Kirk's line from Star Trek 3 to McCoy. That's what happens when you miss staff meetings, Doctor.
Is it an homage, or is it just coincidentally the same line?
That's a good question. I don't know for sure.
I don't trust these memory alpha people sometimes.
Yeah. It was a weird line. The whole exchange is honestly kind of weird. Like, why would she need to say that, and why would she not have? Everyone is sitting around staring at the screen, waiting for the thing to show up. How did no one tell her? Like, it doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, it's important that she not know because she needs to explain it to the audience.
I mean, can't the audience tell by looking at it?
I don't know. Well, maybe they forgot that the Defiant got blown up.
Okay.
Or something. There was I don't remember there being a previously on this episode, so.
Apparently a lot of people complained about this idea that it's like, we just blew up the Defiant and now we're going to go ahead and replace it with another exact duplicate of the Defiant.
Right. I'm pretty sure we've had many episode gaps longer than this where just we didn't see the Defiant. So
yeah.
It's almost completely pointless that they blew up the Defiant just to bring in another exactly the same ship.
The explanation they gave in the Deep Space Nine companion was that it was brought back because it was felt that to have the final battle of the war without it seemed preposterous.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you could have just given them a cool new ship. I don't know. It's weird. And honestly,
yeah.
we didn't quite get there yet, but the fact that they also just changed the name to also be the Defiant, it just seems so disrespectful to me that it's just yeah, our ship blew up, but screw that, we got a new one and named it the same thing, so it's fine. And there was probably a big debate about what we're going to name this ship when it was first built, and we're going to give respect to the people of Brazil. Nah, forget them. You could have at least left the different name, and then it would have felt a little bit different. But no, it's just
oh yeah,
the new Defiant here, same as the old Defiant, except for the carpet and the cloaking device.
Right. Yeah, this is the I think this is the Defiant XLE edition because it has the snazzy purple accents. I don't think we had that on the last Defiant. It has the purple captain's chair.
Yeah, and the rug that Bashir complains about also has purple accents. So I was like, I like the rug, but I would
have not even noticed that the rug was different if he wouldn't have said anything.
No, absolutely not.
So yeah, anyway, they do a little ceremony on the bridge where Admiral Ross hands command of the Sao Paulo over to Captain Sisko. and gives him that special dispensation to change the name of the ship from Sao Paulo to Defiant. So, yes, like you said, screw you, people of Brazil. And that's it. The Defiant's back.
Okay, I had to pull up. I'm looking at like the old Defiant carpet versus the new carpet. The new carpet is definitely better. Like hold on, I'll copy this image, but it's like the old one had these weird like pathways or something running around the whole thing. And it's just like, it looks like a really weird choice to me. I never noticed it because the topic never came up, I guess, when we had the original Defiant. But now comparing the two, I'm like, the new one is way better.
Yeah, I have never looked at the carpet, so that is interesting. I never noticed that before. So O'Brien starts kicking the tires and says the Breen are sure going to be in for a surprise when they try using their energy weapon on this beauty. So I guess this means that the Breen weapon problem has officially been solved.
Yeah. They kind of yada yada over how that was figured out and what exactly they did, but it's done.
I mean, I assume they put in a tritium intermix or something.
And there will be actually no surprise as we find out when we jump to the Dominion later. They're like, oh yeah, they figured out that weapon.
Right. So yeah, the Chief and Worf go to check out the shield generators. Julian, standing awkwardly next to Ezri, wanders off to go look at the sick bay. And then Ezri leaves to give Ben some time alone with his new ship. And then he sits happily in his new chair and says, "Hello, ship," which I guess is that I would say probably is an homage to, whatever that was.
I love how awkwardly everyone leaves so that Sisko can be on the bridge alone.
Right. They just really wanted him to have that moment. Meanwhile, Damar, Garrick, and Kira, and some random Cardassian rebels who are about to die.
Well, one of them we know, the guy in charge of the ship we've seen before.
Oh, okay. I didn't recognize him.
Yeah, hold on. What was that guy's name? It was in the notes. Seskel. Yeah, we'd met Seskel before, and so I thought it was really emotionally impactful when fan favorite character Seskel bit it with the destruction of the ship.
Well, you didn't see it, but actually he made it to an escape pod just in time.
He was in When It Rains. I think he's one of the people who's like harassing Kira about being Bajoran and like saying stuff to try to trigger her into fighting him or whatever.
Oh, sure. Okay. So yeah, they arrive at Cardassia Prime in what I guess is another stolen Jim'Hadar ship. Or maybe they just took that one that they had the Breen weapon on and are using it for infiltration now. I don't know.
I mean, they blow up so many of them. I'm not surprised that they could steal one.
So Gul Ravak and Legate Goris are apparently ready to bring 500,000 troops over to the resistance movement. And just maybe, Gul Sultan can be talked into adding another 100,000. Kira is worried about the risk of coming personally to Cardassia for this. Risk meaning 100% certainty of it being a trap. Especially given that the presence of Kira is apparently essential to convince these guys of the Federation's support.
No, it's fine. I'm sure that like Gul Ravak and Legate Goris can be trusted beyond a shadow of a doubt.
But Damar is blinded by the promise of up to 600,000 more fighters for the cause.
How they're going to divide them up into resistance cells, who knows?
Well, at this point, you got an army stewing there.
It's true. I wonder how many of those guys get killed.
Good question. I don't know if there's ever any risk of those guys actually coming over. Like, probably, I don't know. We don't know what was going on behind the scenes. Like, if this was actually, these guys actually were about to pledge those troops or what's going on.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, the wiki says that Legate Goris gets killed when Gul Ravak betrays them. And given that Legate is higher than Gul, I assume that he had most of the guys that were going to be coming over, but I don't know.
Yeah. But yeah, so yes, Kira, Damar, and Garrick beam down to the cave set where I guess the meeting is supposed to take place, just in time to see the Jim'Hadar finish up shooting all the Cardassians in there.
It's a good thing they weren't watching out for like transporter beams coming in or anything.
Yeah. And the Cardassian and Avorta stroll in to survey the carnage, And the Cardassian says, "See, I told you I could deliver them." And Damar's like, "It's Gul Ravak. He betrayed us." And also he seems to be too stupid to have waited till we actually got there before springing the trap.
Right? Like, weren't you trying to get Damar?
Right, yeah, wasn't that the entire point of this ruse? So they're like, well, I guess let's just beam up on out of here. But unfortunately, the ship they came in gets attacked and blown up before that can happen.
Yeah. I wonder what Gul Ravak gets out of this exactly. Like, he doesn't even get made leader of the new Cardassia. That's some other guy that we don't know. So...
Well, maybe Gul Ravak is like a minion of that other guy or something.
Oh, okay, maybe.
Like, it wouldn't be credible that that other guy would betray the Dominion because he's too obviously pro-Dominion, but he convinced this other guy to do it for him. I don't know. So the three of them, apparently now trapped on Cardassia, are like, okay, what do we do now? But luckily, Garrick knows a place they can crash. It's the house Garrick grew up in, formerly belonging to a Nabrantane, now occupied by Mila the housekeeper, who is like, sure, you guys can hang out in the basement if you want. But while you're down there, can you clean up? So Garrick, Kira, and Damar get to work, cleaning Mila's basement.
Apparently there's a deleted scene somewhere in the episode where the three of them get drunk in the basement.
Nice.
So sad to have missed out on that.
There is the one scene where they're like lounging around like with booze bottles in their hands, so I guess it was before that. Back on DS9, Dr. Bashir officially gives Odo a clean bill of health and says he's fit to return to duty. And then he's like, oh, but I probably should tell you that I found out you were deliberately infected by Section 31 as a way to turn you into an unwitting agent of genocide against your own people. And Odo's like, what?
Like, I waited till now to tell you because I didn't want to have to like have a bunch of awkward interactions while you were still a patient in here.
Right.
So now I don't have to talk to you again for a while.
Now that I don't have to deal with you, I'm just going to... So my medical ethics does compel me to tell you that, but at the last possible moment. But Odo's like, the Federation tried to do a genocide. That's terrible. And Bashir's like, oh, no, not the Federation. Section 31. They're a completely independent rogue agency, completely disavowed by the Federation and Starfleet. Although everybody refuses to do anything about them, and numerous high-ranking officials and Starfleet officers seem to be blatantly assisting them or even working for them with absolutely no consequences.
Yep.
And also it's hard to imagine how they would be able to operate and get the resources for their operations without some kind of under-the-table sanction. Okay, yeah, I see your point. So Odo goes to Sisko, who's like, okay, well, the Federation Council did consider giving the cure to the Founders, but they decided not to do that. I mean, what Section 31 did was bad, but now that they've done it, we might as well make the most of it.
I mean, honestly, I agree with let's not just hand it to them while there's still a war going on and they're our enemy, but maybe you're like, hey, we have the cure. Wouldn't you like to negotiate? Because the Founders very obviously care about themselves, like first, second, third, and fourth, and then maybe some other people after that. So it probably would have been relatively easy to make a deal for all of their lives. But apparently that's not even a consideration.
I mean, easy, but really, really unethical. But
I mean, more unethical than being like, nah, we'll just let them die.
Right. That's true. And then Sisko was like, well, if you got to pick one species to do a genocide to, I'm just saying. And Odo's like, okay, well, I see how it is. And Sisko says, I just need to know you're not going to take matters into your own hands and undo this horrible crime against humanity that I totally don't condone, but also want to continue to benefit from.
Yeah.
And Odo's like, yeah, you have my word. Then, in something of a tonal whiplash, we cut to Rom, Lita, and a Dabo girl huddled by a Dabo wheel conspiring. Rom, still playing Union leader, just encourages Lita and the other lady to go talk to Quark, which they do, requesting that he reduce his skimming of their tips from 20% to 10%.
Dude, that's not just any Dabo girl. That is, I believe that is Impala, who we have heard, like, referenced and seen many times in the show, but apparently this is the one time that she talks in this episode.
So Impala is stepping up. She's a series regular now.
And then, hold on, it mentions, how do you spell her name? Impella. Sorry, said that a little weird.
Impella.
Yeah. Also, Broik is the only installment in which the two of them speak.
So it's the only time Broik speaks?
According to this, yes, it says this is the last episode to feature the characters of Broik and Impala, as well as the only installment in which they speak.
Wow. I mean, I could have sworn we've heard Broik speak before, but I guess he just always stands there while other people talk.
I mean, I feel like he's run the Dabo table or something. I don't know. Now I have to go back and start looking for Broik.
Right. I mean, he's definitely been around.
Yeah.
But yeah, unfortunately, Lita and Impella are interrupted when Quark gets a call from the Grand Nagus. Excited, Quark goes to take the call in a back room. And then Grand Nagus Zek comes on screen, but it's all staticky. He says, "Is that you?" Garbled. "I can barely see you." And he goes on to explain that there's been some kind of power plant accident, which has caused a toxic electrostatic cloud to linger over the city and disrupt communications. What a weird thing to happen.
Yeah, right.
And then Zek gets to the point of his call, which is that he's decided to retire so he can move to Ryza and spend all his time banging Quark's mom.
As you do.
"Okay, sounds good," says Quark. "And," says Zek, "I'm coming to Deep Space Nine to name my successor. For the successor I have chosen is you." "Yes, you," garbled.
Apparently, the closed captions clearly state here that Rom is the successor. So if you are hearing impaired and we're watching the closed captioning, none of this episode makes sense.
Nice. And so Zek is like, "It'll be just like that time in season 1, except hopefully with fewer assassination attempts."
Well, it's funny because the Nagus was also going to retire, and he was thinking about going to Ryza in that season 1 episode. So
didn't that turn out to be just all a
yes, that was
lie,
all
though? Yeah. But yeah, Quark seems very happy to hear this news, even though he's been on this merry-go-round before.
I'm sure no one will try to kill you this time.
Right? No stink-seeking bombs will come your way this time.
I mean, Zek's son has never been heard from again, so I can only assume that he's dead or something. And Rom is no longer the same character who would murder his brother to get ahead.
True. Over in the Replimat, Julian and Ezri bump into each other, literally, and they decide they've had enough with the awkwardness and they need to have a talk. They both admit to thinking about taking the relationship to the next level of whatever level they're on right now. But Ezri is like, "But what about the friendship, though?" And Julian says, "Oh, right, the friendship. Yep, can't jeopardize that." So they awkwardly shake hands and agree, "Yep, that's our decision. Remain friends and don't do it."
I've had that conversation so many times. I can't even.
So, oh yeah, friendship, totally. Very important.
Hold on. I had to look up more information about I had to look up more information about Broik.
Okay.
So it's in the article on Broik. It says that David Levinson, who plays him, was in like 81 episodes of Deep Space Nine, but only received a credit when his character had dialogue in The Dogs of War, along with Kathy DeBuono, who plays Impella.
Is he the one? Is he the one that was Armin Shimmerman's body double?
Yes, he was the main stand-in for Armin Shimmerman and played recurring character Broik. So, yep. Okay. Also, Broik is one of 8 characters to appear in 2 series premieres of Star Trek. So, some very rarefied air. Our friend Broik is swimming in here. Morn is also one of those 8.
I bet that has a lot to do with the Voyager season premiere taking place at Deep Space Nine.
Yeah, that probably is related. Although, let's see, who all is... You got Quark and Morn so that makes sense. But other than that, I guess, yeah, those are the only two carryovers on that Voyager, or the only three: Quark, Broik, and Morn. The other characters that make out the 8 are Picard. Oh,
sure.
Which he was in Picard, so yeah, that would be Miles O'Brien.
He was in the premiere of this.
Oh, in Emissary also. Yeah, that's true.
So he's actually been in 3.
I guess so. O'Brien was in the first episode of Next Generation.
Sure.
And so that makes sense. Christopher Pike, Spock, and Una Chin Riley were all in the original series premiere episode, and presumably, and they were definitely also all in Strange New Worlds premiere. So
you said Spock?
Yeah. Okay.
Through my headphones, it sounded like you said Bach, and I was like, Bach.
Oh yeah, good old Bach. I know that guy.
So back in Quark celebrates his good news by laying down on the bar while all his friends and employees lean over him and congratulate him.
As you do.
Sure. That's how I celebrate things. Yeah. Nog mentions that he heard the toilets in the Nagel residence are plated with latinum. And Quark says the first thing he's going to do is rip out those latinum-plated toilets and replace them with solid latinum toilets.
But isn't latinum liquid, and so the toilet would just melt?
Solid, liquid latinum. But then who should walk into the bar but Liquidator Brunt, who disappointingly does not introduce himself as Brunt FCA. That was like my favorite gag of Brunt. Oh, this is also the episode that has Jeffrey Combs as Brunt and Weyoun.
Yep. And it notes that there's one moment where it cuts directly from Brunt to Weyoun, more or less.
Nice.
Where it's like, Brunt's like doing Quark's feat or whatever, and then it cuts to like Weyoun in the Dominion base talking about the war or whatever. So
nice.
Yeah.
In a tense moment, Brunt says he's heard rumors that Zek is on his way to Deep Space Nine to name his successor. And Quark says the rumors are true. So Brunt immediately gets on his knees and starts repeatedly kissing Quark's hand, explaining that it's never too early to suck up to the boss.
Yep.
Quark seems to enjoy this quite a bit and tells Brunt not to stop. I might have told him to stop, but Quark likes it.
Quark's got to get used to it. Everyone's going to be kissing him when he's the Nagus.
Right. I would be like, show your suck-upping in a different way, please. But back on Cardassia, Weyoun... Oh, yeah. So we're going straight to Weyoun right here.
Yeah, see, there you go.
Weyoun makes a speech to the Cardassian people where he announces that Damar and his co-conspirators were killed. Why we didn't try to trap and arrest Damar, I don't know. Also, the Dominion blew up 18 rebel bases. Damar, Kira, and Garrick, watching the speech in Mila's basement, are like, 18? Dang, that's all of them.
Like, wait a second, isn't that all stock footage from previous battles? As he...
Yes, well, they didn't have the actual footage from that. They had to, borrow from...
Sure. Like, it lists in here footage from Valiant, Tears of the Prophets, A Time to Stand, Call to Arms, and Once More Under the Breach was used in this section to depict the various bases being destroyed.
I can't believe they didn't make all new special effects for this really fast, montage of bases blowing up. Damara's like, how could they have found all of our bases? We took every precaution. Well, except for all the ones that we arrogantly scoffed at. Okay, yeah. I see what you guys were talking about earlier about the importance of secrecy. That one's on me.
Well, and really, I mean, we talked about it at the time, but it's like, you all started out in one base. So you all knew each other already. At that point, breaking into secret smaller groups wasn't really helpful to not reveal the identity of the rest.
Yeah, well, I mean, logically what you should have done is made sure nobody at the bases knew where the other bases were.
Yeah.
I have a feeling they probably did not do that, but also should Weyoun be making this speech? Will this be well received by the Cardassian people?
Well, we haven't appointed our new guy yet, so...
But won't they be like, now this Vorta guy is just now he's basically going nah, we killed your guy. Although I'm kind of disappointed that Thought Gore didn't get to make the speech, just in
that would have been amazing. Yeah,
the Breen language. And then we don't see any subtitles or hear what he's saying. We just, like, the Cardassians just keep turning to each other and paraphrasing what he just said.
No, there's just like a 2-minute long monologue, and all you see is reaction shots. No one else talks for that whole section.
You just see people just kind of like looking up, paying attention.
And then at the very end, Wayne's just like, so elegant. Or eloquent, rather.
Right. So Kira's like, well, we've got to get a message to the Federation. But Garrick is like, well, that would get us caught, though. And then Kira says, well, we're not going to spend the rest of the war in the basement, are we? And then Garrick and Damar just kind of awkwardly side-eye each other without saying anything. And Kira's like, oh, that's exactly what we're going to do, isn't it?
It's like, we're Cardassians, right? We don't like... We don't do this noble sacrifice deal. Especially not Garrick.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
He is like, look, sometimes you have to stay in the basement for the whole war. It just happens,
right. Yeah, he's like, I'm okay staying in the basement. Hey, this is a nice basement. We got booze down here.
I don't know when this happens. The note is this is the only episode of Star Trek, period, in which the Breen logo appears. So,
oh, wow.
I guess it's one of those scenes in Dominion headquarters. But
I mean, I guess since we've never seen it before, we wouldn't recognize it as that if we knew it. So, or if we didn't know it. So back on Deep Space Nine, Brunt Dremels Quark's gross blue toenails while Quark considers his application to be financial advisor. They haggle over a bribe for a little bit before settling at 60 bricks of latinum. Brunt hands Quark a receipt to sign, and Quark is like, wait, a receipt for a bribe? And Brunt says, yeah, they just came out with a new law that bribes are tax deductible. And Quark is like, wait, taxes? The fingers thing means the taxes.
Outrageous.
And Brunt is like, yeah, the income tax that Zek started to fund all his new reforms and social programs. But Quark is horrified.
Like, does Quark pay absolutely no attention to... Like, he's supposed to be this genius Ferengi businessman with his ear to the ground or whatever, and he has not heard any of this.
Right. He's not been paying attention to what's been going on back on Ferenginar. Yeah, Quark is horrified. That's not how Ferengi society is supposed to work. Quark figures this must be the result of Moogie's corrupting influence on Zek, and vows that when he becomes Nagus, he will do a sweeping reversal of all the reforms so that Ferenginar doesn't become like one of those horrible Federation planets. Brunt says, oh, I don't know if the Congress of Economic Advisors will approve of that. All laws have to be ratified by them. Upon hearing this, Quark immediately drops to his knees and says a prayer of penitence to the Blessed Exchequer, begging forgiveness that his children have gone astray. And Brunt awkwardly and amusingly kneels next to him.
I mean, yeah, Brunt, it's kind of without any hesitation at all. Brunt's just like, oh, it's prayer time. Got it.
Yeah. Back in Mila's basement, Garrick, Kira, and Damar just lay around defeated, doing nothing. How long have they been down in this basement? Hours? Months? Who knows? Kira is peeling a label off a bottle while Garrick makes a little pyramid out of some shot glasses. Mila comes in, thoroughly unimpressed by what she sees, and says if only the people could see you now. They speculate about what the people must be saying. That they were dumb to take on the Dominion, and everybody's glad they're dead. But Mila says, oh no, there's all kinds of rumors going around that you aren't dead. That you faked your own death and are plotting a new offensive from your secret mountain hideaway. And Garrick is like, whoa, we have a secret mountain hideaway?
I feel like they should be like, but there's no rumors that we're hiding in a basement on Cardassian Prime, right? Like, I don't want them to start checking.
Yeah. It's like, no, don't worry. All the rumors are pointed definitively away from any basement, so...
Good.
But Kira's interest is piqued. It's possible the Resistance made a big impression on the common people, and Damar might just have inadvertently become a legend. And if Damar were to reveal himself to the people and tell them to rise up against the Dominion, then we might just be cooking with gas. And Damar's like, sure, screw it. Anything to get out of this basement.
Mila's right there, man. You don't gotta be like that.
I don't think Mila's under any illusions that like her basement is like a luxury resort.
Yeah, fair. It's pretty roomy, to be fair.
It's true, yeah. As basements go, it's pretty big.
I've never had a basement that nice, that's for sure.
Yeah, me neither. Meanwhile, at Dominion HQ, Weyun introduces Boom Boom Parkins to the new leader of Cardassia, Legate Broca. He's the lamest, most spineless Cardassian we could find.
I assume that was the only criteria, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Broca bows and declares his allegiance to the Founders, and he tells Thought Prawn he's looking forward to working with him. Weyun suggests having Broca make a reassuring speech to the Cardassian people to kind of undo the ominous speech I gave them earlier, I guess. But Boom Boom Parkins interrupts and is like, a speech? We don't have time for that. That would take like 10 whole minutes. I think we're safe to continue neglecting the Cardassian people with no fear of consequences. What we really do need to talk about is strategy. The Federation figured out how to counter the Breen energy weapon, so I think we need to make some adjustments to our tactics. Adjustment number 1, stop using the Breen energy weapon. Adjustment number 2, stop attacking, fall back into Cardassian space, and form a tight defensive perimeter while we rebuild our forces.
I feel like the Breen should be really worried at this point that it's like, we just got into this war on the side that we thought was the winning side. Not only that, but we like did this whole attack on Earth and lost a bunch of our people just to show how badass we were.
Right.
And now all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, no, we're gonna lose. Let's pull back.
Like, was your entire strategy based on us having that weapon? Because that was not smart.
This should have been planned better, yes.
Also, can we fall back to our space and you guys stay in Cardassian space?
Yeah, I wonder what that looks like. Like, are Breen and Cardassian spaces anywhere near each other?
But yeah, Boom Boom Parkins reasons that the Federation will be so intimidated by this hasty retreat that they'll leave us alone.
Well, they're always trying to get peace, those wimpy Federation guys, so
right.
They'll be fine with
True.
it.
But then Legate Broca is like, but what about the Klingons and the Romulans? And Weyun is like, well, obviously, once the hyper-belligerent Federation is intimidated into inaction, their timid and docile allies, the Klingons and Romulans, won't dare attack us.
Yeah, I love Weyun's just like, quiet, you.
Right.
You speak when spoken to.
And then Broca is like, I'm totally not sure about that analysis, but Weyun and Boom Boom shoot him down with some angry looks. So Broca's like, oh, I mean, good thinking, whatever you say. I love the Founders.
Oh, man. I mean, the Romulans do kind of want to, like, pull back once the Dominion pulls back. It's,
Well, I mean, yeah, for like 5 seconds.
Until someone explains to them why that's a bad idea. And it's like, oh, yeah, okay.
Back at Quark's, Quark angrily throws a tray of glasses and rants about the new reforms. Rom, however, seems to find all the reforms reasonable, but his main concern is what's going to happen to the bar. Rom offers Quark 5,000 bars of latinum, which Quark accepts without a second thought, continuing on with his lament that 40% of Ferengi no longer believe you have to buy your way into the divine treasury.
Where did Rom get so much latinum is my question.
I don't know.
We know that he gave away his entire life savings right before he got married. So, like, I don't know where all of this latinum is coming from that he suddenly has popped out with. It's a lot, I feel like.
I mean, did they get some kind of reward for that rescue Moogie operation? Was that before or after he gave away his life savings?
Oh, but it was like 50 bars of latinum that they were splitting between them. Between, like, the 6 guys or whatever.
So, some amazing windfall came to Rom.
If the Bajorans pay you this well for working, like, as an engineer on the station, Quark is in the wrong line of work.
Right. Or maybe Rom just applied for, like, a business loan.
Oh, sure, yeah. He's married to Lita now, so he could get, like, one of those great interest rates from a Bajoran bank.
Oh, yeah. A whole bunch of stuff happened behind the scenes. We just don't know it. But my feeling is that if like 40% of Ferengi no longer believe in the Ferengi religion, or they don't believe this core tenet of it, then maybe like there have been some cultural shifts going on before these reforms started.
Well, I kind of assume that the new polling includes women and never did before.
Ah, okay.
But I don't know. I could be wrong about that. That was just
True.
my thought, where it's like, if we're letting them become full citizens now, we'd have to include them in the polling. And since they weren't allowed to talk to men not related to them before, then they wouldn't have been included in the polling.
So there may be some methodological points that need to be looked into with these polls.
I do wonder how the Ferengi religion considered women before, since they weren't allowed to own anything, and you had to buy your way into heaven. Is it just all men in heaven? Or, like, does your wife get in, like, you're paying for both of you? I don't know.
I assume, like, a male has to basically, like, pay your entry fee. So, yeah, like, your husband or someone has to buy you into heaven. So yeah, Rom, perhaps showing that he's more cunning than people give him credit for, swoops in while Quark is in this distracted state and swiftly has him sign his pre-prepared contract. So I don't know if he just filled in the 5,000 bars or just had that contract already or what.
That's a good point, yeah.
If he just had like a bunch of contracts ready for a bunch of different amounts.
He just hit the tab with those 5,000 bars, yeah.
Yeah. Once Quark realizes he sold his precious bar for only 5,000 bars of latinum, he takes it only as a sign that he himself has been infected with the horrible disease afflicting Ferengi society.
Well, it's not like he didn't negotiate and he's upset about that. But it's not like he had no idea what he was doing or anything, because he goes, that's reasonable, when offered this amount, and like signs off on it. So we acknowledge that, yes, this is a reasonable amount for the bar.
Uh-huh.
He's made an amount of money comparable to what his bar was worth. So,
but he's a Ferengi. He doesn't want the reasonable amount.
Well, right, yeah. But it's just funny to me that he treats it like, wait, what have I just done? As if he hadn't just made like an amount that his bar was worth.
So yeah, then Quark makes a resolution that he will only accept the Nagus title if Zek agrees to let him do things his way.
I mean, can Zek stop you from doing that?
Well, I don't know, because don't all laws have to go through the Congress now? So, like...
Well, yeah, but I mean, in that case, Zek can't let you do that.
Right, so, yeah, I feel like this is not all well thought through. But Quark is like, the line must be drawn here, this far, and no farther, which I don't think is an homage to anything.
Well, okay, there is a note about this, because it says that this echoing of Picard's line from Star Trek First Contact was deliberate on the part of Ronald D. Moore, who co-wrote both the film and this episode, and remarked, I take great glee in mocking my own work.
Sure. Back on the streets of Cardassia City, Vorta and Jim Hadar imperiously strut around while Cardassians walk, eyeing them warily. Hiding in the shadows, Kira and Damar watch the entrance to a Jem'Hadar barracks. Kira's worried that Garrick has been inside for too long. And Kira is wearing a hood, the ultimate disguise, so nobody can notice that she's a Bajoran.
Yeah, that'll cover up the absence of neck ridges and stuff for sure.
But then they see Garrick finally come out, only to be stopped by a couple of Jem'Hadar demanding to see his work order, which they note has not been approved by the First.
Lazy Garrick.
Somebody really should have caught that before he went inside, but I guess better late than
never.
never.
I thought, like, the work order, he goes in with the work order to do the work, but when he comes back out, it's supposed to have been signed off by the First that he completed the work.
Oh, okay. So the work has to be signed off on, not the work order.
That's how I took it.
Okay.
Like it's signed off on the pad with the work order.
Okay. Unfortunately, Garrick does not seem to be on his bluffing A game tonight, and the bomb set inside is going to detonate at any moment. So Kira says, we have to do something, and she gets ready to attack. But then Damar dramatically steps out of the shadows and yells at the Jem'Hadar, Hey, who are you to treat a Cardassian citizen like that? And unlike other Jem'Hadar Damar has encountered, this one seems to actually watch the news and recognizes Damar immediately. The Jem'Hadar levels his weapon at Damar and says, "Surrender yourself, or die." And Damar says, "I choose neither." Maybe not the most clever line in history, but it does the trick.
Suck it, he says.
Right.
So I assume this is the part that this note is talking about, but there's a note in here that Casey Biggs, who plays Damar, was having some issues with a big speech that he has to give in the episode.
Sure.
And so Avery Brooks is directing. He comes up, and apparently Casey Biggs has fumbled the thing a couple of times. And he says, Avery looked at me, and he comes up and he says, he gives a 2-word bit of advice that completely solved the situation. So what Avery Brooks says is, glide, dig?
All right.
And Biggs is like, and then he just walks away. And I said, oh, I get it, because it's a glide. You just move your way through it. And I was just like, man, if you really were able to do it because of that advice, then directing I feel like is easier than I thought it was. But it's also mentioned that previously, when he directed, I don't know if it was this episode, it doesn't say, or a different episode, but Brooks gave a similar piece of advice to Jeffrey Combs about some line where he walks up and he says only one word, slalom.
Interesting.
The funny thing is, I can absolutely see Avery Brooks just walking up to you on set and being like, glide, dig, and then walking away.
Hey, Avery, he's an actor. He knows how to talk to actors. I'll
give him so
credit.
Yeah.
So, then a phaser bolt blasts out of the shadows and knocks the Jem'Hadar off his feet and probably kills him. I don't know. This gives Damar just enough time to warn all the Cardassians around to get back, and he tackles a couple of bystanders to the ground a split second before the bomb goes off. A crowd of Cardassians gather to see the spectacle. One really excited teenager says, "Hey, it's Damar! He's alive!" And then Damar makes this speech to the crowd saying that him being alive proves the lies of the Dominion, and that the time has come for all of Cardassia to rise up. Freedom is ours for the taking. "Freedom!" yells Garrick, echoed quickly by the excited teenager. And then the whole crowd starts to get into it. Kira backs into the shadows without being seen, watching Damar take center stage in this moment in history.
Also, she doesn't want to be catching any strays when somebody starts shooting it.
True.
Got to get out of the way.
You just don't want people to be like, "Hey, what's that Bajoran doing here?
Let's get her!"
Right.
And then Damar, to keep control of the crowd, has to be like, "Yeah!" And that's bad.
Yep. Back on Deep Space Nine, Ezri and Julian run into each other at the turbo lift, and while they wait, they talk about how good it was to clear the air and get rid of all that awkwardness. They both agree that they're glad it's all behind them. Smash cut to the turbo lift arriving in ops, with Julian and Ezri making out. O'Brien tells Worf, "Well, I guess they worked it out," and Worf pushes the button to send the turbo lift back down. Either so Julian and Ezri could start doing it right there in the turbo lift, or maybe restrain themselves long enough to make it back to one of their quarters.
Yeah, whatever.
Worf stands there with an expression I'd call bemused, but happy.
He can finally stop listening to Ezri complain about wanting to jump Bashir's bones.
Yep. Down at Quark's, or I guess Rom's, the big day has come. Zek arrives to hand over the Nagus staff, Moogie at his side, and Quark walks up in front of them and declares that he won't accept the position unless he can do things his way. Zek and Moogie look at each other confused and say, "Who wants you to be Nagus?" For you see, the real next Grand Nagus is Rom. In all the static earlier, Zek thought Quark was Rom. Quark is mildly bewildered at this revelation, mainly because Rom is an idiot. Rom is also quite surprised and listens to Zek give him a speech about navigating the ship of commerce away from the shoals of bankruptcy towards the strong winds of prosperity and so on. Rom accepts and is showered with congratulations all around, from Lita, Nog, And Brunt, who quickly gets yanked out of the way by Mayhardu.
Yeah, I'm wondering if Brunt's verbal contract, or actually actual contract with Quark, still applies. Like, was there a thing in there about, like, I only give you this money and become your financial advisor if you are Nagus?
Right.
Or is he now Quark's financial advisor?
Yeah, it depends on how smart he was writing up the contract. Or I guess it wasn't a contract. He just got a receipt for the bribe, so who knows?
Yeah, it's a verbal contract. I don't know that means anything to the Ferengi, but
the Ferengi lawyers will have to work this out.
So there's a bunch of notes about this development in here.
Okay.
It says, prior to beginning the final chapter, the writers had discussed the possibility of Quark becoming Grand Nagus. But Ira Stephen Bear later explained that was wrong. Quark had to be in the bar at the end of the show. I felt that the audience needed that continuity even more than whoever was going to run the station. Quark is the center of the station, and I needed that center. So we wouldn't make Quark Nagus. But also, it didn't feel right that we could leave Zek in the office, because we'd put him through all kinds of changes. As such, we decided it had to be Rom, because we only have 3 Ferengi that we know. However, there was more to it than simply making him the new Nagus and moving on. We had to figure out what would happen to Ferengi society that would enable Rom to become Nagus. We were in love with the idea, but Rom wasn't up to being Nagus of old Ferenginar. They need him alive. But to oversee a new Ferenginar that had a heart and compassion, and was trying to be more progressive, Rom had those qualities. To some extent, we'd laid pipe in that direction with Moogie's influence on the Nagus, and the audience accepted the leap Moogie had accomplished for females, so we figured they'd be able to make this leap too. And I love that they just got here and they're like, oh, we're going to have to make Rom Nagus, but it doesn't make sense. It explains why there's been this enormous amount of changes in Ferengi society and Quark knew nothing about it, because until they wrote this episode, they didn't exist. So, but also, it says both Armin Shimmerman and Max Grodenchik hated the idea of making Rom the Nagus without mentioning changes to Ferengi society, as they felt that without some contextualization, it was just preposterous. And Armin Shimmerman specifically says, the decision was kind of akin to making Jake the head of the Federation. Which honestly, at least Jake would have gotten in the episode that way.
Right. I don't know. I just kind of figured they were like, oh, we have to we can't leave the show without solving all the problems on Ferenginar. So let's just solve all of those really quick in one quick episode.
According to the notes, originally they did just in early drafts of the script, they're just like, okay, Rom's Grand Nagus, it's done. And they didn't mention any of those changes. And I think that's what this note about Armin Shimmerman and Max Grodenchik pushing back is, where it's like, wait, no, that doesn't make any sense. And then the writers rewrite it and they're like, oh, well, of course, we never would have done it that way. That made no sense.
I mean, yeah, this random guy becoming the Grand Nagus would make sense, except for that.
Well, and in one of the early versions, it also says Quark was going to become Nagus, but then he just decided not to. And then Rom got it by default. Just, I guess Zek's like, well, I'm leaving. So you over there, you're Grand Nagus now. Bye. So it seems like this went through several variations before we got here.
Yeah.
But it says no one was happier than Armin Shimmerman that Quark did not become Nagus, because he said Quark is the station. He's as much a part of the station as the carpets and the pylons and the transporters. Everyone goes through Quarks. Everyone deals with Quark. I've seen various characters go through major arcs over the years, and others that started in one place and were in totally different places at the end of the 7 years. So I was concerned a few episodes before we ended that Quark hadn't really changed much in 7 years. But then they gave me the script for Dogs of War, and I was shocked to see how much the character actually had changed.
But I mean, he went through all that stuff. I feel like he's been through a lot of slightly goodening changes over the years.
Yeah.
So Quark is so you want Rom as Nagus? He's the Nagus you deserve. As far as I'm concerned, the Ferenginar I knew no longer exists. No, actually it will exist, here at this bar, the last outpost of what made Ferenginar great. The unrelenting lust for profit. And then he orders Broik to order the drinks.
To water the drinks.
Oh, water the drinks, that's what he said. He orders Broik to water the drinks, Impella to rig the Dabo table, Which I guess just go over there and push the rig button on the Dabo table or something.
We know there is one of those buttons because I think we saw Broik push it before.
Nice. And he tells Rom he wants to buy back the bar. But Rom says he'll give it to him, and he can even keep the 5,000 bars of latinum.
I mean, that is what giving it to him means.
Right. So, oh, don't worry, I'll give it to you. Once you give me
5,000 bars.
10,000 bars of latinum.
Like Quark has that. There is a note that when he says this will be the last outpost of what made Ferenginar great, this is a reference to the Next Generation episode, The Last Outpost. The first episode to feature Ferengi, one of whom was played by Armin Shimmerman.
Oh, wow.
So once again, that may just be a coincidence and not actually a reference, but if it was, it's a fun little coincidence.
That's a very clever reference if it was intentional.
Yeah.
Quark tells Rom, "You're an idiot, but I love you." And then he gets nice and he says, "Congratulations, you're the perfect Nagus for this new Ferenginar." And then Zek says, Are you sure we picked the right brother? But then Moogie whisks him away, presumably to begin their new Jamaharan-filled retirement on Ryza.
Zek deserves it. He's worked so hard.
Sure. A long life of guiding the ship of commerce or whatever. Rom offers Quark the role of financial advisor, which Quark immediately turns down, and Brunt jumps in and offers his services, but Rom says no way. But Quark says, "Don't be so hasty. You got to try one of these Brunt pedicures." Then Captain Sisko, Admiral Ross, Sub-Commander What's-His-Face, and Chancellor Martok in his snazzy Chancellor coat gather to discuss the new Dominion withdrawal strategy.
Yeah, if you're not wearing the coat, it doesn't count. So
True. They realize that attacking now might be their best option. It would be costly, but better in the long run than waiting and letting the Dominion regroup and build up their forces. Martok makes up his mind and says the Klingon Empire votes to attack. And Ross concurs on behalf of the Federation. Then everybody looks over at the Romulan guy, who shrugs and says, screw it, why not?
I wanted someone to be like, the Klingon Empire always votes to attack.
Right.
Like, why do we even ask you?
We took that for granted. Later, Sisko heads home after presumably staying up late burning the midnight oil at work, and finds Cassidy still sitting up. At first, he thinks it's his lucky night, but then Cassidy hits him with some news. She's pregnant. How did that happen? Apparently, Sisko forgot to get his birth control shot this month, which raises some questions about how 24th century birth control works, but whatever. Sisko is shocked at first, but then happy. Cassidy, though, is nervous. What about the prophets? Didn't they say marrying Cassidy would bring sorrow? What if that was a warning that something would happen to the baby? But Ben says, I am the emissary of the prophets, and I know everything is going to be all right. And Ben and Cassidy curl up in each other's arms, and then we push in on Ben's face, and it does not, in fact, look like he knows everything will be all right.
You gotta say that. So, you know.
True. That is the required thing to say in that situation. But, I mean, we've all been in the situation where you're pregnant, but the prophets have predicted doom and unhappiness on you. Like, a lot of thoughts go through your head. So you got any more notes?
No. I'm sorry. There's one last note. It says Rom's final word, wow, was an ad-lib. Which, you don't ad-lib on Star Trek. I know that from hearing Jonathan Frakes talk about directing. So I'm shocked that stayed in.
Oh yeah, I think I've heard them talking about that like ad-libbing is really, they're really strict about that.
Yeah.
But, it's his last day. What you gonna do?
Yeah, what are you gonna do? Fire me?
It's like, well, but in the script we intended for Rom not to be impressed. But now he says, wow, that changes everything. All right, so jump into reviews.
Yep.
All right, what did you think of The Dogs of War?
All right, so I gotta say, I don't care who ends up as Grand Nagus of Ferenginar. Like, it was such a flimsy premise that, there was a yada yada that made the connection bad, and it's a wacky mistaken identity B story, or I don't even know what what level of story that is in this episode. It gets way more screen time than it needs or deserves.
Mm-hmm.
And I get that you're like, well, we want to wrap up like Quark, Rom, Lita, all that stuff, and it's not going to fit into the final episode. So let's give it some space. I get that. I just don't care. So I will say that Rom and Lita return in a fun episode of Lower Decks, where they get the original actors back, and they, as the people in charge of Ferenginar, scam the Federation, this Federation admiral, out of a ridiculous amount of stuff as part of their negotiation to join the Federation. But so it led to a fun episode of that where Rom gets to play dumb, and it's hilarious.
Sure.
But beyond that, I just like, that's like a third of the episode that I'm just like, I don't care. I really couldn't care less. Sure, we get Jeffrey Combs back as Brunt, being hilarious, sucking up. That's enjoyable, I guess. But it's just this close to the end. I don't care. So on the other hand, despite how kind of sudden it is, I like the Damar Kira Garrick stuff pretty well. It is kind of out of nowhere that they're like, oh, we need to flip the script and let's just destroy. We've just spent several episodes inventing and building up the Resistance, but now it doesn't fit our needs anymore, so we're going to destroy it real quick.
Right.
It feels a little bit sudden that, like, okay, yeah, that's all gone now, and they're in a basement, and we're going to go on from there. But I still like it. I still like their scenes and stuff. It's all pretty fun. I like that we're positioning things for the finale with the changes in the overall war, and it's like, oh, we're going to do a big final attack. I don't know that we needed a whole episode of, like, they were writing all these at the same time. It would have been so much better to build some of this stuff gradually, as opposed to everything kind of changes on a dime in this episode. It's like the Dominion, which had suddenly become a huge threat again with the Breen joining the war, is suddenly on the losing side again,
right,
out of nowhere, and so they need to pull back. And it's like, oh, okay, so you really are just like, oh, we got to hurry and wrap this up.
Right. Yeah.
Our explanation is that the other side did a thing that anyone with half a brain knew that they would have tried to do. So it's just, yeah. There's a lot of issues with the storytelling here, I feel like, that could easily have been avoided given that we were writing all of this final section of episodes at more or less the same time. It feels a little bit lazy. And yet I still am enjoying like 2/3 of the episode. So it's not all bad or anything. I just think that it's a little bit lacking. And so I'm going to give it a lieutenant commander, I think.
All right. Yeah, I concur with most of that. I want to say this Ferengi story is probably in the top quartile of ridiculousness of Ferengi stories.
I mean, it's a competitive field, that one.
Yeah. I mean, just continuing tropes like only 10 people seem to live in the entire Ferengi civilization, and ridiculously dumb stuff like, the garbled transmission and stuff like that. So, and I'm like, I also could pretty much take it or leave it. I wasn't that into it. Yeah, I don't really care that Quark becomes Nagus or what happens to Ferengi society after this. I agree that a lot of the other stuff feels rushed. Maybe this is stuff we could have built up over multiple episodes instead of like one episode where it doesn't feel like, oh, suddenly like we're in a completely different situation now at the end of the episode than we were at the beginning of the episode. I also liked the Quark, Damar, and Garrick stuff for the most part, I guess.
You mean Kira, Damar? You said Quark, Damar, and Garrick, which that would have been a different sort of program, honestly.
Yeah, Quark came to help out, and that was just a bad time for Quark to come and try to sell drinks to the Cardassian resistance. So I don't know. I just don't super love the episode, but also I don't I don't dislike it like the last episode. So
Yeah.
I will go ahead and also call it a lieutenant commander. Although I think overall it's kind of a low lieutenant commander for me.
Yeah, I can see that.
But it's over the line. So I think so. We'll call it that.
Yeah, I was just like, I didn't actively dislike enough to put it under the line.
Right.
It's just kind of meh.
And it's like set up for the finale. It's like What We Leave Behind Part 0, sort of. So
Yeah. We've set the stage well.
Right.
Why this needed to be the stage and it had to all be set in this one episode, I don't know,
Right.
but we've done it.
I definitely do not like the Defiant just suddenly being back after blowing it up. It's like, why even blow it up? But we talked about that already, so...
Yeah. It's like, we wanted that big effect of blowing it up, and everyone's like, oh my gosh! And then just undo.
Right.
Control Z.
It's like, oh, things that happen aren't important in this show, I guess. Is the lesson.
We got the payoff, everyone was surprised, and so now it's fine.
Yep. Any final thoughts before we go?
Nah, it's not worth any more thoughts.
So we're leading. We're there. We're gonna go into the finale next week or whenever we get around to recording it.
Yep.
But that is our discussion of Dogs of War. Thanks for listening. If you like that one, maybe you'll like our discussion of The Nagus, a similar but also very different episode.
Yeah, it's like a bookend thing happening.
Yeah. Which you can find wherever you're listening to this. And if you want to leave us a comment, you could do that on YouTube. Although, I feel like YouTube comments have been real glitchy lately, because like sometimes it'll say I have a comment and I'll click on it and there will be no comment there. Or sometimes I'll like see a comment on the video, but it won't be in the dashboard. So I think I've seen most of the comments, but my name is Fletcher. About to say goodbye is Data.
Adios.
We look forward to seeing you next week on Undeclared Bajor. And until then, may you avoid the shoals of bankruptcy and find yourself on the winds of prosperity.